Well, my name is Kevin Pleasant. This is my wife, Monica Pleasant, and we started on our journey probably 2 years after we got married, and it took us about 3 to 4 years to find Dr. Elian. During that time, we went through a series of visitations with various doctors. I think we had 3 or 4 unsuccessful IUIs, and decided that IVF was the way to go for us. And finding a doctor that was had a minimally invasive procedure and one that was extremely empathetic to our particular situation was very key for us.
I actually had my first trial back in San Diego, but it didn't work out. So I just have this hinge. I have to find a doctor. Sorry, I'm an Asian who speak Mandarin. So that's why I found Dr. Elian online, and I attended his seminar. And because his scientific background just made me believe he can make this happen.
I'm Jim Hill. My daughter's name is Lena, and I'm 54 now, and Lena's just turned 3 a couple months ago. My wife and I had been married for quite some time, and we knew we had some issues and had tried a few places for in utero. And when we started trying to look for IVF, because we thought we were getting to that stage, she actually found it through some local publications in the Japanese media, in the Japanese stores, because she's Japanese. We looked around and tried to find reviews of different places, and everything we could find about the clinic was good, and it all turned out to be correct, because it is really good. So we were quite impressed. I'm impressed here today at the clinic's ability to bring everybody back. I'm impressed but not surprised, because it was that good an experience for us, and I think it's that good an experience for anyone who's come here. And I'm also, one thing I was a little surprised and impressed is how even the office staff are stable over the 4 years, because evidently you're so happy to work there because you're doing such great things. Our treatment was actually, I guess in some ways, a little unusual, because we went for the natural cycle IVF, and in 1 cycle we were done. It was a really wonderful, lucky story, because we had called, and there was a cancellation a couple days later for a consultation, and we got in, and it happened to be the right time for my wife's cycle, and that cycle worked with natural, with very little drug. She had to, of course, inject herself once a day toward the end, but none of the big difficult stuff for her. It all worked out right away, and from our first phone call to conception was within the month. So it was an amazing experience, and I know it's unusual and lucky, but things can happen that well. Yeah, I think everyone needs to really assess a lot about themselves, as well as looking into a place. And of course, I'm doing a testimonial for this place. I'm a big fan of this clinic, and I think, frankly, finances matter, and it was cheaper than most places. And the success rate is something to always look at, because with a procedure like this, there are vastly different success rates in different clinics. The success rate here is very good. Even the success rate for natural, which is much medically less robust procedure in some ways than the traditional one. So I think people need to do their due diligence about checking success rates and prices and everything, but really you need to look at yourself and see what you want. I think the natural cycle was very good for us because of the specific issues we had, and it would be good for a lot of people, but there are options, which is nice. And things, sometimes you're just lucky, sometimes you aren't, but if you really, if you find that that's where you are, you need to move forward and do it. And I think that's the bit of advice, that if you have to look in and find out where you are in your process and decide when you're just going to do it.
Well, this is Lucia. First of all, she's 7 months, and she was born in December of 2014. And our journey began a few years ago when I had a miscarriage, and then we were trying to get pregnant and nothing, and so finally I went through the process to find out what was going on. And so basically low ovarian count, and so through a support group I found Dr. Elian, And I'm so happy and so grateful that someone recommended, had been coming to treatment with him, and so I decided after a few months, to come. And once I came to the seminar and he explained infertility and how good my chances were because I am younger, but through his philosophy and low medication, my husband and I felt that it was a right choice to try. We didn't want to give up trying, and so I'm so glad we went through the process. It wasn't easy. It was at times very challenging, but I have nothing but good things to say about the service that everyone provided, even from the receptionist to anyone that we came in contact with. Everybody was so friendly, and especially Dr. Yilian, just so wonderful, so patient, so had so much hope for us. And I think that's really what sold me. I really wanted to have that hope that we'd have our baby one day, and so grateful. Thank you, Dr. Yilian.
And we went to a traditional fertility clinic after we realized we were having some challenges. And they told us not only was it very unlikely that I could have children at all myself, but that even if we did do IVF, it would be very low chance of us having a child. So a good friend of ours whose baby is 6 weeks older than our baby, who will be here today too, told us about Dr. Yilian, and we came to one of his seminars, and we saw some folks there with a young child. And so we really liked the doctor and some of the people that we met. And what we ended up doing is going through the process, and then after, about 7 or 8 months, we were down to our last embryo. Only one left. After all of the testing, there were no other viable embryos, and I went and met with Dr. Yilian myself, and I was very upset. And I said, man, what are we going to do? How's this going to work? He goes, look, we got one more good embryo. Just have faith, give it a try. And there he is. So Lucas was born in April 21st, and he's now almost 12 weeks old. And so it's all because of the help we got from God and from Dr. Yilian. And so that's why we wanted to come today and have everybody see him, and that's pretty much our story.
We've actually tried having a baby for
more than 5 years.
More than 5 years. We've actually had a doctor before Dr. Yilian, and that didn't really turn out, good. Then when we moved out here with my wife, hearing about Dr. Yilian, sorry, but with his
minimal approach.
Yes, and that really truly
us to be less stressed.
Less stress. That's true.